Welcome to Bob Cargill's Marketing Show, a ridiculously awesome podcast bursting with insightful commentaries and intriguing conversations on the topics and issues that are on the minds of marketers, advertisers, social media, and PR professionals today. Hey, everybody, how are you? This is Bob Cargill, and this is Bob Cargill's Marketing Show. My podcast, yes, episode 210. And episode 210 is live. Yes, we are live here from my home office in Sudbury, Massachusetts. It's June 1, 2026. We'll be uploading this elsewhere besides where it's being recorded live today, Riverside, YouTube, and Facebook. I'll be uploading it to Podbean, and that means it will be blasted, distributed, disseminated to wherever you get your favorite podcast. And I hope my podcast is one of your favorite. And if you're listening right now, I believe that means it's one of your favorites. If not, your number one favorite. That's what I hope to be. I've always had high aspirations. It's Bob Cargill's Marketing Show, episode 210. And today I'm going to talk about a few different things, like what I've been up to lately, including teaching and any marketing projects, any social media projects. But then I'm going to talk about a concert I went to recently with my wife and compare how the star of this concert, first of all, how he's such a rock star, and compare him to marketing, or should I say, what lessons did I learn from him with regard to marketing that I want to share with you as well. So we'll get to that in just a few minutes. But first, let me tell you, yes, what I have been up to lately. So the semester at Suffolk University has wound down, and that's where I was teaching two sections of one business class this semester. And I'm now looking forward to the fall, where I'll be teaching three different courses at Suffolk and one at Mass College of Pharmacy, and who knows what other courses I may be teaching at Northeastern University. Where I am teaching currently, I am teaching currently at Northeastern University grad students to College of Professional Studies. That's a social media class, and I have another social media class scheduled to be taught this summer online at Northeastern University, and possibly on the calendar, I believe, not possibly, but yes, absolutely is on the calendar. I'm scheduled to develop a new course in social media for Northeastern University as well. As long as all goes as planned, we'll be doing that this summer. So, yeah, in the courses in the fall at Suffolk, by the way, one is a new marketing course I'll be teaching to grad students. I'm really looking forward to that. And then two sections of one business course, not business communication, which I taught just this past spring, but foundations of business. So, yeah, there's a lot. Not that you needed to hear all that detail, but I love teaching, and I love talking about it. And I think so highly of my students. I think the world of each and every one of my ridiculously awesome, wicked, smart students. Right now, I hope they're enjoying their summer break and just, yeah, not thinking of anything else, but having a good time at this time in their lives. It certainly was one of the best times of my life back in my college days, and I'm sure they too are enjoying these college days themselves. So that's my teaching. That's what I've been up to. I've been up to other things as well. Running, of course, I ran the 26 True Marathon, 26.2 miles in Boston. April 18th. Yes, that is the date, April 18th. And that was 2 days before the Boston Marathon, which I've run 20 times. And this time around, or should I say this year around, this season around, instead of the Boston Marathon on April 20th, I ran the marathon in Boston, the marathon that's called 26.2. It starts and finishes in Roxbury, goes through Dorchester, Mattapan, and Jamaica Plain. And I ran this one. Again, this marathon for Christopher's Haven. That is my charity of choice. Christopher's Haven, a ridiculously awesome nonprofit in Boston that provides housing for families whose kids are undergoing cancer treatment. They come from all over the world to go to Christopher's Haven. And Christopher's Haven's been around for about 25 years or so, and I've known Christopher's Haven intimately well since the beginning. I've run for them now 12 or 13 times the marathon, Boston every time until this year. A marathon in Boston, 26.2. But yeah, 26.2 miles, raising funds for this ridiculously awesome nonprofit organization. Nothing could give me more pleasure, satisfaction. Feel so rewarded and grateful that I can be able to do that for them. So yeah, that's my running, and probably the next race I'll be running is July 4th here in Sudbury, and my hamstring injury is all but, it seems like it's in the rearview mirror, but I, as my wife would say, take that back, meaning if I say things out loud like that, maybe I'll jinx it, and we don't want to do that, because this injury I have is a chronic, what do they call it, hamstring tendinosis, so it comes and it goes, and I'm not getting any younger, so I expect it to come more than it goes, to be there with me in some way, shape, or form. But I can run with it, and it's just how much pain I have. It's not going to get, I don't think, crazy worse. Just sometimes more painful than not. But running is in my future. Running is in my past. I love my running. It's an obsession. It's a passion. It's both mentally and physically good for me. And if you run like I do, you know what I'm talking about. If you know, you get it. So that's running, that's teaching, and another big item for me, maybe not for you as much, but hopefully in a few years for you, the publication in a few years. But right now, the writing of my second book is taking place, and it's tentatively titled A Life in Motion, and I am well into it. So I'm committing to it. I wrote the 20 Jobs, 20 Lessons book. It's somewhere behind me, over there, right there. Cardboard poster, if you will, of the cover of the book, 20 Jobs, 20 Lessons, A Long, Strange Career in Marketing from Junk Mail to Social Media. This one's going to be more, so that was like a professional memoir. This is going to be more personal memoir, but also touching on my professional life and with some common threads throughout, and that would be running, that would be my unbridled ambition, and sports, and mental and physical health, and relationships, family, friends, colleagues. It's going to cover the gamut, and it's going to take me a long time, 2 or 3 years is my guess, to put it all together. But I'm in the discovery phase, if you will, jotting down memories, dictating memories, and accumulating content that I'm going to have to go over and over and over again to get just right before I'm ready to publish. And if I have to self-publish like I did this time around, so be it. Be great to have a company that would be interested in publishing it. I think it's going to be, I'm confident that it's going to be an entertaining read, and certainly cathartic for me to write, and rewarding and fulfilling. And I'm grateful that I'm able to be able to remember so far back into my early days. Everything I can remember since birth is so far being dictated. Whether it will make the final cut or not, I don't know. But a Life in Motion, at least that for now, is the tentative title of my second book. So that's taken a lot of my time, and a lot of social media. I am an avid content creator, have been really before they were calling it content creation, meaning I'm a copywriter from way back, and creative director, and before that a wannabe journalist. Did quite a bit of writing for my school newspaper and my hometown newspaper, and yeah, I wrote movie reviews, concert reviews. Hey, I interviewed John Cale by phone. I interviewed Jello Biafra of the punk rock band The Dead Kennedys. I interviewed Wendy Williams from, she was the Plasmatics. She was in a punk rock band. She's no longer with us. May she rest in peace. I went to a lot of shows back in the late 70s, early 80s in Boston, and then some in New York at CBGB. But here in Boston, the Rat, the Channel, the Paradise. So I've been around. I've had an eclectic life, a long, strange journey so far, and that's what's going into this this second book, A Life in Motion. I'm high energy and have had countless, more than many, countless. I can't tell you. I guess many does mean countless, pretty much the same thing, same difference. I have had so many ambitions, and I've tried to pursue all of them to no avail, all of them, but to some degree of success, quite a few of them. And I will continue that venture, that journey. That is my plan. As long as I am here on earth, I'm reaching for the mountaintop, reaching as high as I can, reaching for that brass ring, which Barbara and I, my wife, did get in Oak Bluffs on the island of Martha's Vineyard, the Flying Horses. We both got the brass ring together at the same time, if you can believe that, because that's rare. And that's when you go around on the carousel and you grab for the ring. And if you get the ring, you get a free ride. And so I liken, when I say to my students, reach for the brass ring, I liken that brass ring, metaphorically, figuratively speaking, to a free ride, another opportunity. So always be reaching for the brass ring. So let's segue now into someone I'm looking at on my left-hand monitor. Actually, his set list from the show we just saw recently, my wife and I, Barbara, on my right-hand monitor. And he is David Lee Roth. David Lee Roth. So I tell my students, I tell everyone, I tell you are a rock star. Say that all the time. David Lee Roth really is. He is the definitive rock star. I mean, come on. Van Halen going way back. Never did see them live in concert, but had a lot of their albums, still do, down in my cellar. I have over 2,000 record albums, vinyl, and Van Halen albums, a few of those albums. And he was, he's known as Diamond Dave, and he was born a few years before I was in 1954. He's been around. He's 71 now, and back on the circuit, back on stage, solo with his band, a backup band. And I was so impressed. My wife was so impressed when we saw him recently at the House of Blues in Boston. That was on Sunday, May 24th. So just about a week ago last night, we saw him, and we were so happy we saw him. We thought both that was one of the best shows we've seen ever. I mean that, okay? But one of the best frontmen, clearly, if not the best, certainly that we've seen, one of the best ever in terms of frontmen for a rock and roll band is David Lee Roth, and personality-wise and entertainment-wise and sense of humor. I could go on, and I will go on, because I'm going to tie what we saw back to marketing. 10 things about, maybe I'll be a little under, a little over, but 10 things about marketing you can learn by seeing David Lee Roth live in concert. So go look him up on YouTube, and you'll get it. And if you get a chance, go see him in concert. I don't know for how much longer he'll be touring, but my guess is he'll go as long as he can go, as long as he feels like it, and likely will go for many, many more years. I hope he does, because he is an entertainer through and through, and he's authentic. He is the real deal. And, with Van Halen, they were, now they're considered classic, or a classic rock band. I'm looking at my Wikipedia, actually, just so I don't misspeak necessarily. But, late 70s, 80s, early 80s, mid 80s, Van Halen was huge and had lots of hits, great albums. Did they have the first one? I remember very, very well at UMass Amherst. That was where I was going to school at the time, and we would listen to a lot of those songs on our record players back then. Yeah, I guess maybe cassette or 8-track, but I think in most cases it was vinyl. But yeah, they were amazing, always were amazing, and did I dance and sing and maybe do a few other things, have a good time, party. Let's say that. Let's just leave it at that. Party to so many of their songs and albums. And now, again, the times have changed. There's not a lot of bands like a Van Halen, not a lot of performers, frontmen, singers like David Lee Roth. I mean, but of course he sang alongside Eddie Van Halen, who was that fantastic, one of a kind, extraordinary guitarist who unfortunately passed due to cancer. And I'm trying to read some of this as I talk, but it's not easy to be reading on my other monitor as I talk. So, I'll just tell you what I remember off the top of my head for the most part. It's just, it was an amazing experience to see David Lee Roth. It was like seeing Van Halen, because he played all the Van Halen songs. He had written all those songs, all the hit songs, and I'm talking songs like Panama and I'm the One and Ice Cream Man and Ain't Talking About Love, Hot for Teacher. I think that's one he wrote. No, that was a Van Halen song, yeah, but I think he did write it or co-write it. Jump, of course, Jump, yeah, that's an amazing song. And Unchained, Jamie's Crying, that's from the first album. There were just so many. I could go on. The list goes on. It was about 20, 25 songs he played in 2 hours at the House of Blues in Boston. My wife and I, we were right up front. I mean, second, third row for David Lee Roth of Van Halen fame. He is eclectic. He is a performer, an entertainer, an artist. I mean, he paints. He has border collies, I believe. Has a farm and raises or trains or shows in dog shows, border collies. I may speak a little out of turn, but this is what I've seen of him a little bit on YouTube, and he climbs mountains. And he is into jiu-jitsu, I believe, and has lots of tattoos. I mean, I'm going fast, and I'm going by some of what I'm reading. And again, forgive me if I'm misspeaking. Forgive me, Dave, if I'm misrepresenting you, but I don't think so. And know that anything I am saying about you is all positive. I am thinking of you as, like I say, the quintessential rock star, but with multi-talents. And, he's led that multi-talented life, the life of an artist. Yeah, he just has all these great songs, and he was brought up in terms of on the stage, mainstream in the MTV era. So he was the face of certainly Van Halen and MTV for many years. And he is famous. And again, to see him on stage in the second or third row was amazing. And I'll never forget the experience. And I'm so glad we had the experience. Thank you, David Lee Roth, for that experience. What I want to say now, segue into, he has lots of tattoos, by the way, and he is a state licensed. I have found the paragraph I was looking for on Wikipedia. He's a state licensed EMT in New York. And I said jiu-jitsu, martial artist, training in Kenjutsu, and since he was 12 years old. And there is Brazilian jiu-jitsu there on the list, and Kenpo, and he's a licensed private pilot for rotorcraft helicopter, paintings and drawings with social commentary. Yeah, I found the paragraphs I was looking for. He's climbed Half Dome in Yosemite, and his Crazy from the Heat book tells that he also climbed the Himalayas, not quite reaching the summit of Mount Everest. So he's a Renaissance man. He's an eclectic man. He's a talented man. He's an ambitious man. I could go on, and I'm going to go on. The things I learned about David Lee Roth from Van Halen back in the day, now solo artist. Barbara and I, my wife and I, saw him at the House of Blues in Boston recently, and he put on an amazing show. I applaud him. I commend him, congratulate him. Yeah, standing ovation, Dave, but we were standing the whole 2 hours that you performed. It was a standing ovation from beginning to end for you, Dave. But what I feel marketers can learn from David Lee Roth is, number one, branding. I mean, you know who I'm talking about. Those of you who do know, I mean, if you're young, you might not know David Lee Roth. If you never were into rock and roll music and just didn't pay attention during the late 70s, 80s, 90s, up until now, You might not know David Lee Roth, but if you know David Lee Roth, you know what I'm talking about when I say he is his own brand that is unmistakable him. And you know what I'm talking about when I talk about him. Flamboyant, talented, a little bit wild, a little bit reckless, loud, great singer, great talker, great comedian, frankly, great dancer. I mean, he does it all. He enthralls. He engages with his audience. He entertains. He's exciting. He's exhilarating. He is electrifying. I could go on. He has that brand, and he dresses the part, acts the part, and you know what I'm talking about when I talk about David Lee Roth. That's branding. That's how your product or service, not necessarily exactly like David Lee Roth. You might have a different vibe, if you will, a different feel. Obviously, your products, your services, and you, of course, on me. None of us can be David Lee Roth. There's only one David Lee Roth. But what I'm saying is your products and services and you as a personal brand have other attributes, but you want your attributes to be known. It'd be ideal if they were known as well as David Lee Roth's attributes are when you just say his name, when you just say your name, when you just say your products or services name, to be known as well as David Lee Roth. That's great branding. That's strong branding. Wow. So that's one. I said marketing, what we're learning from him, but there's also business points I want to get across and points with regard to succeeding in life. So this is marketing, but it dovetails along with everything else we do in our lives, and that is consistency and showing up. And David Lee Roth, at his age, 71, to still be on the stage, to still be touring at his level of intensity, that's impressive. And if you're a personal brand, and we all are personal brands, whether we want to admit it or take advantage of it or not, that's up to us. But we are all personal brands. And David Lee Roth certainly is one. Yeah, his product, I guess, it's more a service, the playing of music. The product, I guess, when it's commoditized and we purchase it, consume it, it's can be, I guess it's on Spotify now, but it used to be records and tapes and tickets to shows. So regardless, I'm saying being consistent, showing up, longevity, that's what you want. So started off with branding, now saying built to last is David Lee Roth. And we all should be so lucky to be at that level of success at his age and have, if we're looking at this from a marketing standpoint, have products and services that last that long in popularity. So branding, consistency, showing up, the content. And that's what I was just saying a little bit in terms of products and services. His content is his hits, is his songs. He has the portfolio, the dossier that we all like, most of us who like rock and roll, who appreciate rock and roll, so many hits, so much popularity, so much revenue based on those hits. And the royalties he's, I'm sure, taken in as a result of those hit songs. But that's his body of work. And we all, as personal brands, need and want a body of work like that if we want to succeed at the highest level possible for a long, long time. You need great content. He has great content. And that music gets played on Spotify. That music gets played on radio stations, or at least has many, many years, still does on certain radio stations. I imagine Sirius XM, classic rock, or Replay. I'm trying to think of that other station I listen to that plays some great rock hits from back in the day. So content. And then as a person brand, he doesn't take himself too seriously. That's putting it mildly. I mean, he's like a comedian, an entertainer, a showman, like a Las Vegas lounge act. And I have always said personal brands should not take themselves too seriously, even corporate brands. If you're just like, if people can look at you and think, hey, they're just like me, he's just like me, she's just like me, that company's just like me, the people behind the scenes, the employees, they're just like me. I can relate. That's a good thing. They'll trust and respect. And if they like what you have to offer them, they're going to be all over it. They're going to be consuming it, buying it, wanting it, demanding it, etc. David Lee Roth in concert and in any appearance that look him up if you don't know. He comes off like just a regular guy. And so that means you can relate to him. And he doesn't take himself too seriously. In fact, he's joking and laughing frequently. And that makes him appealing to others. That endears him to others. He engages with his fans. He makes eye contact constantly. He's gesturing. He's pointing. He's talking to them in between songs. Lots of banter. Lots of small talk, lots of levity and frivolity. And so again, people skills. So as a personal brand, think what I've said already, branding, strong brand. Again, this applies to products and services though as well. The consistency, the content, and the body of work, and not taking himself too seriously, and then engaging with his audience, engaging with fans. I saw on YouTube recently, he took someone from the audience. They came up and danced with them on stage. I mean, how cool is that? Do you know what I'm saying? That's allowing people to connect with you and you connecting with them. And as a brand or business, what can we learn from that? As a personal brand, what can we learn from that? Don't ignore our audience. Don't be tone deaf to what they want, what they appreciate, what they like about you. And most of that has to do with the connection you make to them and the availability and approachability and be on their level. Don't think you're in any other stratosphere but theirs. We are all on the same level, okay? Rock star or not. And we are all rock stars. Sorry, Dave. You are the quintessential rock star. But I tell everybody, you are a rock star. We should feel like David Lee Roth. And he's a good role model, I'm telling you. He works hard. There's another thing. His work ethic. I always tell my students, nothing replaces that work ethic. His energy is off the charts at age 71. That's something to be proud of, Dave. And his work ethic, same. So, even though he's so talented and could probably just show up and stand there, he works hard. It shows and it's appreciated. And so again, in business, one of the keys to success, working hard, same marketing, same social media, same, just living, period. You got to work hard and high energy helps. He tours frequently. At least he is right now and has certainly in his past, certainly when he was a member of Van Halen. And that point there in marketing is you want to be where your audience is. Artists, rock bands, performers, perfect example of being where your audience is, obviously. And if we can, as personal brands, and that's why I preach social media so often, because you can't do this in person necessarily, most of us, that's average folk. You can't be there in real life alongside your audience in person, but you can online. Take advantage of social media. Take heed of what I'm saying is a good example of being where your audience is, and that's David Lee Roth touring, going from city to city, Schenectady to Hampton Beach, New Hampshire, Schenectady, New York, to Boston, Mass, all over the place, Huntington, New York, the Stone Pony and New Jersey. These are clubs where he's appearing right now on tour. He's going to where his audience is and then connecting with them. In marketing, that's what we have to do as a personal brand. Use social media to be where your audience is. He is lifting people up. And your personal brand is, to a degree, a reflection of how much you lift others up, not just how visible you are and how talented and helpful and educational, et cetera, you are, but how much you lift them up, others, those on the receiving end of your messages. Prop them up. Give them the limelight. Like David Lee Roth did recently, let someone dance on stage with you. Point to them, smile at them, treat them with respect. Your audience, lift others up, inspire them, entertain them, make them smile. I think you get that. And almost done with my 10, and these are 10, unless I miscounted. Personality. He's got it, obviously, larger than life. He smiles. Again, he doesn't take himself too seriously. He laughs. He tells stories, storytelling. He has it all going on. He's the face on the brand in the face of his band. And that's what you want as a brand or a business, certainly as a personal brand. You know, that personality. Smile. Be the face of your brand. And finally, believe in yourself. Strong personal brand. You have to believe in yourself. Feel like a rock star. That's why I call my students rock stars. That's why I call anyone listening and watching this show right now. You are a rock star. You have to believe in yourself. So that's 10 or so things I think we can learn from David Lee Roth of Van Halen fame, but solo fame as well, and who my wife and I just saw at the House of Blues in Boston. David Lee Roth on stage, in concert, singing all the hits. We danced the night away. That's one of his hit songs, Dance the Night Away. And we enjoyed ourselves immensely. And I think so highly of David Lee Roth, and I praise him and I applaud him. And I turn, having seen him in concert, into 10 lessons that we all can learn, those of us in business, especially in marketing, from David Lee Roth, starting with his personal branding, his consistency, always showing up, his content, his hit singles, his hit songs, his hit albums. That's his body of work. That's his portfolio. That's his dossier. Doesn't take himself too seriously. Great for personal brands to be mindful of that. He engages with his fans, corporate brands and personal brands. We know how important that is. He works hard no matter what we do in life. Strong work ethic will help us achieve success. He's got that high energy. Energy helps. He's born with that. I think am like-minded, a kindred spirit, Dave, and have that high energy as well. I know it's an asset. But it's me, whether it's an asset or not. That's what you're going to get when you are around me, and that's what we're going to get from David Lee Roth when we're around him. He goes to where his audience is in all the touring, all the performing, okay? He has to get out there in real life, and we all should take note of that. Stores do pop-up appearances in different markets. Travel, people in business, as I have done countless times in the past, business travel. You got to go where your clients are, where your customers are. Selling products and services, you got to sell those products and services, again, where your customers are. And that may change. That may change repeatedly. Again, like an artist on tour, like David Lee Roth on stage. We as personal brands, we as companies have to be where our audience is. And we want to lift our audience up like David Lee Roth entertains and inspires and takes us down memory lane. For those of you who are old like me and listened to Van Halen back in the day, we want to lift our audience up. We want to make them smile and joke and laugh a little bit and have a great personality and be the face on the brand, and in his case, the face of the band. We need to think similarly, and we need to, like David Lee Roth is a rock star, we need to believe that we are rock stars. Each and every one of us is a rock star. We have to feel like David Lee Roth on stage. I hope he feels like this, because he is this. He is a rock star, the consummate, the definitive rock star. Are you David Lee Roth? And that's how I think we all should feel if we're fortunate enough to feel that way and instill that feeling in ourselves. We need to feel like David Lee Roth, who is a rock star. We need to feel like David Lee Roth and feel like we are rock stars as well. So there's my episode 210, Bob Cargill's Marketing Show, June 1, 2026, live on Facebook, on YouTube, on Riverside. I'll distribute this via Podbean as episode 210 of my podcast, Bob Cargill's Marketing Show. You will be able to listen to it wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. I hope my podcast is one of your favorite, if not the number one favorite of yours, Bob Cargill's Marketing Show. Hit me up anytime. How can I help you? I am here to help. I talk about marketing. I talk about social media. I talk about business. I talk about AI. I talk about David Lee Roth. I will talk about a lot of different things to help you, educate you, inspire you, enlighten you, motivate you, just to be a sounding board, to listen to you. How can I help you? I'm here for you. I can speak in schools, at conferences. I can teach. That's what I'm doing most of my time now, teaching at Northeastern and Suffolk and Mass College of Pharmacy. I teach marketing, business, social media. I enjoy what I do. I'm a past president of the AMA Boston chapter. It's the American Marketing Association in Boston. I was president for 2018 to 2020 and then 22 to 2024. Now I'm just on the board, but I'm an avid participant in anything having to do with AMA Boston and an avid runner and 24 marathons. Looking forward to my 25th sometime within the next year or so. But that's me. But let's talk about you. Reach out to me on social. Reach out to me. Give me a call. Look me up. I'm easy to find. Text me. Call me. Find me on social. Let me know how I can help you, how I can support you. And don't ever forget, like David Lee Roth is, I think we all should feel like rock stars. And so like David Lee Roth is, remember this, you are a rock star.